start off, Lisa, on how we're going to create a healthy body. Where do you want to begin?
One of the first tips I have, which kind of falls under the getting your mind and your brain and your thoughts in order, and that is get lots of sleep. Based on research, the average American gets between 5 and 6 hours of sleep. That's on the high end. They do say that 7 and 8 hours is the healthiest, between 7 and 8 hours. It's still that same old that we've heard, you know, get your 8 hours of sleep. Getting lots of sleep is going to help you. It's going to support your immune system. It's going to develop your immune system, make you stronger to go out there in the world. But it's also going to make your mind more vibrant. It's going to make your body more vibrant, all those things. It does actually, even though some people who have depression have lack of sleep, getting lots of sleep helps to sort of stave off depression, okay, obviously. But it also is a known preventer of heart disease. Yeah. So, you know, there are many great benefits. That's just one or two of the benefits. Well, three, actually, the immune system, the depression, and heart disease. But there are so many physical benefits and emotional benefits to getting lots of sleep. Now, for those who struggle, you know, obviously you should be under the care of a physician or a psychiatrist or psychologist, whoever it is that, you know, if you have emotional issues or medical issues, you know, like PTSD and things like that, you kind of have learned what goes with this territory. Right. And if you've been struggling with that, if you're new to that, I really highly recommend getting in to see a doctor. If you suspect that you have PTSD or some other form, and you can have PTSD from just having a childhood trauma. I mean, it's not just for Vietnam vets, okay? So, but anyway, if you have those types of things and you can't seem to get the amount of sleep that you need, then I would seek medical attention, because there are things that they can help you with, and there are many advancements, and there are many great doctors out there who offer holistic approaches. Right. So you're not just taking medication after medication and, you know, screwing your liver for the rest of your life. So
right. And also, Lisa, I've learned to have good sleep hygiene. So I have to start unwinding earlier in the evening, which is so hard because I love hanging out at the bar, I mean Twitter, and chatting with my friends and having a good time and, you know, bringing the boa out and playing around. But I have to turn my laptop off and my brain off at a certain point in the day. Also, I have found, you know, stopping sugar, caffeine, things like that at a certain point and in the day. Exercise, but the number one thing that really helped with my sleep was staying hydrated. And I didn't know about that being so important with sleep. What are some of the roadblocks that people are running into and not getting a good night's sleep, Lisa J?
Well, I mean, it's going to be the opposite of the things that sleep provides, which is you're going to have a low immune system, you're going to be prone to illness and sickness, and every little thing, you know, it's the people who work, you know, 60 hours a week and fly around the country, and they always say, it's the plane. Every time I get on the plane, I get sick. And, you know, and it's because of that recirculated air, but they're sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night and working around the clock, and they wonder why they get sick. You know, it's really, it botches your immune system. It really cripples it. So that is number one. But number two, you are on the road to cardiac disease. If you don't take care of your heart, needs to have that downtime because it is thumping away, you know, kind of supporting you and going along for the ride all day long. And if you're going into the wee hours, it's working on overtime as well. So you really do need to give your heart and your other organs a rest and your brain a rest. And sometimes our brain just gets so excited and doesn't want to shut down.
You know, I also understand for a lot of folks in meditation, no matter how long, even 15 seconds. And I have this new app on my smartphone, and it's the Mindful app.
Oh, that looks great.
Off every 20 minutes, 5 minutes. You can use it for meditation, and it has a wonderful, wonderful sound to it. And here, I'll just play it real quickly. You can hear that, and it's beautiful, and it helps you be mindful.
Nice.
during your day. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with everybody. What
I love
else are we
that.
doing this year to
Well,
after we get our wonderful sleep and stay committed to that?
so, okay, so you want to be hot, you want to be sexy, you want to be in your best shape. You have to get moving. The thing about getting moving, obviously, we know about exercise. We live in the USA, and anyone who's on Google Hangouts right now, you're pretty up to snuff that exercise is the key to health and fitness. Okay, that's standard practice. But, you know, the Oxford Journal published a study recently that women over 40 have a significant decrease. Not just women, men over 40 too, but women in particular have a significant decrease in their body fat if they exercise regularly. Now that sounds sort of okay, fine, we all know that, but that's not necessarily the case with exercise all the time. Exercise sometimes builds strength, sometimes it builds muscle, it doesn't always burn body fat. But even if you're doing strength training, whatever, different types of exercise, over 40, you will see more of a body fat reduction than people of doing the same thing that are 30 or 20 or whatever. Now, that's on average, and that's a study, of course, in a select group. There's so many other things. Exercise alleviates symptoms of diabetes and the risks of diabetes. So if you have diabetes, it will help alleviate some of those symptoms. If you have it in your family, it will alleviate the risks for you, or can help alleviate the risks. And it does it for many things, not just diabetes. It does it for osteoporosis. It improves your bone health. It improves your muscle strength, your muscle flexibility, your skeletal system mobility. So many things are great about exercise. And when I say get moving, I'm talking to the person who doesn't exercise, who has never had to exercise, who is lean and pretty sexy and doesn't necessarily have to do that to lose fat or to fit into a pair of pants or a dress. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It's very important for your health. You know, we know the biology of the human race, or the chronology, or whatever, the history of the human race, and that is that we were born to, you know, the men were the hunters and the gatherers, and the women were out cooking and doing all kinds of things, and they were very active. And then as they moved along, it was farming, and it was hard labor work from early in the morning until sunset. And we don't do that. We sit around and we watch the Kardashians or, you know, whatever, and we eat our potato chips and our processed foods, and we pack our bodies full of toxins without knowing it because it tastes so good.
Right.
And the exercise is one way to sort of get that stuff flushed out of your system and get you on the road to health. So that's,
yeah, and viewers, even if you're dancing around the room in your home, that's wonderful. You can just do some wonderful stretching, lifting up some things. But if music is what gets you livened up, because we can say exercise bajillion times, but you need to have that motivation within you to want to move your body. And I know it's hard. So maybe when you're watching the Kardashians, you can jump around, do some stretches, maybe a few jumping jacks, things to keep you going, and just getting the oxygen level up and getting the oxygen to your brain cells, to the blood cells, etc.
That's so funny you say that, because one of the things that I say in my upcoming book is going to the mall shopping is not really exercise unless you never walk. And then you can start there, but
so
you need to, you need to walk. You need to make yourself do that. But another thing too is two of the things that you touched on in your living room while you're watching TV. I do my crunches. I do abs. I do stretches, because people forget that stretching is also exercise. Yes. Even though it's not going to necessarily burn the fat, it's very important for your muscles. So I do a lot of my yoga stretches. I'll do ab exercises. I'll try new things that I've seen online in front of the TV, you know. But also when I'm teaching my Pilates classes, and they're not traditional Pilates classes. These are hardcore on a machine in a class to music. Everyone operates their own machine.
Wow.
You move, 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 and it's hard.
Yes.
But while I'm constantly reminding people, breathe. You have to get oxygen. Exercising is getting oxygen to the blood, but also so is your breath.
Right.
Like breathe in, inhale some good breath and oxygen to those muscles and to the blood. It's so important. And then exhale out those toxins. Just get it out of there. And so those are very important things.
And you can use that breathing technique also to bring in wonderful mindset thoughts that you want to help create more positivity in your life and let go of some of the negative self-talk that you might want to release during the day, especially for those of us who have our own businesses and are working from the home, and we have to be our greatest cheerleaders. So sometimes just having that moment with your breath, feeling a sense of gratitude for everything, even if it's just that you're alive, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm going to move a little quick here because I have 12 tips.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we'll jump right along.
This one is, if you're exercising regularly, this is very important to do every day. And this is based on recent research. And that is confuse your muscles.
Confuse your muscles.
What that means is vary your routine, whatever it is you do, daily. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't ever go back to what you did Monday, say you do it Wednesday again. But on Tuesday, change your routine. And that's different from today I'm doing arms, tomorrow I'm going to do legs. I mean, that works. That's definitely a way to vary your routine. But we're talking about don't do the same arm exercises 2 times in a row. Change them as much as possible. And the reason what they found is that it jolts. It is far and above the best way, as opposed to people who vary their exercises, say every other day or every couple of weeks or whatever. There's many schools of thought out there, like I said, but this was found to weigh probably like 40% higher than any other variation of exercises to break your body out of a plateau. And that's not just physical, that can also help in your diet. So if your diet has sort of plateaued and you're trying to lose that last 5 pounds or whatever, varying your exercise will sort of jolt your body out of that plateau.
Do not skip
meals.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Eat regularly. What they found is that out of all the people who skip breakfast, those people have a huge, probably about 70% of them tend to be weight cyclers and gain their weight back and be yo-yo dieters. And those same people tend to be people who become obese. So rather than, now when I say obese, I'm not talking 600 pounds. You can be obese in your frame and only wear a size 12. Excuse me. It depends on your size and shape and how tall you are and all that. But there are, what they found is that is a key component. Do not skip breakfast. Do not skip meals. And then don't go the other extreme necessarily of the 6 meals a day, because what they found is the difference between 3 meals a day or people who eat 3 meals and 3 snacks or 6 light meals, whatever, there's no difference. So whatever you choose to do, if you do the 3 meals a day or whatever, do it regularly. Just stick with it, okay? Healthy meals, if it's 3 meals and 3 snacks, whatever. The one thing they did find on the 3 and 3 is that people tend to have a higher energy level with that. So anyway.
Well, I don't graze, but I do prefer the smaller meals. But I hear you on the 3 meal. I kind of like have a little something. I'm into portion sizes, and then I wait a few hours, and then I have another portion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess again, I don't work at an office. So.
And that's actually fine. It just was saying, you know, there's a school of thought that says 6 meals a day is better for weight loss. They found that that isn't the case. As long as, if you can only get 3 meals in a day because you don't get significant breaks at work and all they have are crap, you know, vending machines at the on the floor you're working on or whatever, then the 3 meals will be okay. Just, you know, just make sure it's regular and you're not skipping. Choose a healthy diet and stick to it.
Detoxing from the sugar, right? And the wheat cannot be easy.
Well, if you want to lose weight or you want to just have a healthy diet, what they found is they studied this organization called Pounds Lost, Preventing Overweight Using Novel Dietary Strategies, okay? What they found was that they studied Atkins, they studied Learn, they studied The Zone, they studied Weight Watchers, you know, so many different plans. And they found that over time, people who stuck to those plans, regardless of what they were, they all had pretty much the same success rate, but they were successful. That was the main thing. Where people got into trouble was they would try, you know, Atkins for a couple of months, go off of it, try Learn, or try Weight Watchers, go off of it, try, you know, the next thing, The Zone, try the, you know, the next detox cleanse or whatever it was, and they weren't sticking to any one thing. And so really this is speaking to that brain and mind thing, and that is pick something, really think about it, think about what's going to fit into your lifestyle, and then stick to it. That's the biggest thing.
I love that, Lisa.
Yeah. Eat
Fruits,
more
veggies,
fruits and vegetables, less other foods. Now, that comes from a study where they found that women, people over 40, not just women, but in particular women, because women as they get over 40 tend to have weight gain issues, will experience more significant weight loss success if they increase their fruits and vegetable intake and decrease the other foods like carbs, fatty proteins, and cheeses and things like that. Now, in my upcoming book, I talk about this for people who are in menopause. I say, just think about it. Baby carrots, celery, watermelon, apples, different types of fruits. There are so many great fruits for you that have antioxidants in them and things like that. Just don't worry so much about eating a lot of that kind of thing. If you're decreasing the breads, the baked goods that have the sodium and the yeast and all those things, the processed foods that have all kinds of other preservatives in them, the crackers, those types of things, the pastas, and you're also, then they went the next step further. They said they had a significant success rate in maintaining a weight loss if they also reduced the meats and the cheeses. Okay, so now when I say that, I say I'm talking about water content, fruits and vegetables. So I mentioned celery, but there could be, you know, it could be cabbage, it could be any of those types of water content fruits and vegetables that are going to fill you up, hydrate you at the same time, but also help you lose weight, and they'll help you get that, boost that success rate.
Awesome. More protein, less carbs, quick results. Oh my gosh.
This is more for short term, okay, because I don't want it to sound like I'm contradicting myself, because I just said eat less protein and more fruits and vegetables. This is when you've been doing great and you've been sticking to your, you know, Weight Watchers regime or whatever it is for the last year, and you have a cruise coming up and you want to put on that bikini, or you want to get in those swimming trunks and you don't want to have the you know, the little tire around the waist or whatever it is, that research found that the high protein, low carbohydrate diet above and beyond, head and shoulders above any other diet, will significantly increase your weight loss for the short term. They found that it was hard for people to maintain that for long term. Now, that's not talking about Atkins, because Atkins is a whole plan where they eventually balance out. You know, they have to go kind of cold turkey off of, you know, the carbs and stuff, and then they sort of wean them back in. But Anyway, that's that.
Okay, that's
Okay.
it. Next.
This one is really fun, okay?
Enjoy a glass of wine or cocktail. You darn right. Right,
Now,
Deb Oakland, who's watching?
this
Alice
is
Badler.
actually this was a study that was published by the American Medical Association, okay? And they found that it wasn't just one glass of wine, it was two or two cocktails a day significantly decreased people's triglycerides, their risk of getting type 2 diabetes, things like that. Now, the problem is, and it adds to weight loss. So if you're decreasing your triglycerides, you're going to have an easier time losing weight anyhow. Triglycerides are fat.
There we go.
Okay. However, this is not a less is more, this is a less is more situation. It's not a thing where, okay, 2 glasses of wine, well then 3 must be better. Because what happens is after 2, you start to gain weight and your body starts to store it. So everything in moderation. I'm not telling people to go out there and be teetotalers and then wonder why they're not losing weight. Or they've got other health concerns.
Well, and I think, too, a lot of people find that the occasional cocktail or a glass of wine at the end of the day can really create a bookmark from a busy, complicated, distracting day into being a little more mindful and a little more present, especially if you're sharing that libation with someone you love.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, this is a really good one. And this is one that I have been promoting, okay, to get people to this talk.
Really?
Can you read it?
Calcium from dairy, biggest belly burner. You're going to have to explain that. And this is the great news about having Lisa J on the show. You can tell she has a very strong journalist background. She goes for facts and figures, numbers, studies. This is not a
person, no. There was recently published a research study that calcium in diets, in your diet, not through supplements, although that can help, in your diet significantly reduces belly fat. Now, it's just fat in the trunk region, so it could be on the side, it could be, all of that, but I just call it belly fat.
And what kind of calcium are we going to be eating, not supplements, eating?
It's eating. So if you're lactose intolerant or you're allergic to dairy products, okay, so the dairy products we know, yogurt, cheese, milk, creams, things like that. Try not to go with the fatty creams, okay? But other things like spinach, okra, anything dark and leafy, those leafy greens, those are high in calcium. Almonds, you can Google it. There are so many foods that are high in calcium, but you have to get it through your diet.
Got it.
That's a really great one. Now this is a nice little tip for people.
Get out the tape measure and keep it under 32 inches. Ruh-roh.
That's your waist. Okay, that's for women. The research was done on women, so I don't know. You would have to ask your doctor what is the healthy waist circumference for a male. I'm not up to snuff on that. But what they found was a direct correlation between waist circumference and so many diseases. Heart disease, diabetes, what else? I have my notes here. Oh, waist circumference is a direct correlation to your body mass index. So if you go, women, it's found that if you go over 32 inches and you stay there, you are going to be obese. Basically, that's that's what they say in the study. Again, qualifying that with the people that they studied were select groups of people out of the population, and I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule, but people that have giant bones and are 8 feet tall may need to have a 32-inch waist. Okay. But the reason I say carry the tape measure is because when you've been doing all these things to be healthy and sexy and look great for the new year, you tend to have a little bit of success and get what I call the cutsies. Okay, you go, woohoo, I can go out and I can eat my pasta and I can have my 20 drinks or whatever. And you don't, that tends to get you on this sort of path of, I'm fine, I've got a reserve of weight loss. We think we have a reserve of weight loss that we can sort of pull from and go out for a few months and do whatever we want, right. And that's really unhealthy and not a smart thing to do. And when if you carry that tape measure around, it will be your quickest grounding and reality check for you. It will ground you and make you realize, okay, I don't have this under control. I've got to rein it back in. So, yeah. Okay, this one's fun too. This is the last one. And you mentioned hydration, and we've talked about it throughout this. Mm-hmm. But this is interesting.
If 2 glasses of water before meals equals more weight loss. Why is that, Lisa?
That's a good question. They just observed it. They were curious about, now, in this study, everyone had a low-calorie diet, the same sort of low-calorie diet, same number of calories, whatever, average. Everybody drank 8 glasses of water a day. So it didn't matter whether or not they drank, they weren't drinking more, these people that drank 2 glasses, but the people who drank 2 glasses of water prior to having their dinner or lunch or breakfast, whatever, they showed significant weight loss, much more so than the other group. So, and this was over long term, like 4 years. So this is a great little tip. If you can get yourself scheduled to drink a couple of glasses of water before every meal, you will see either a great, easy way to maintain your weight or a great way to sort of kickstart that weight loss.
Awesome, awesome. These are very common sense, really, steps. And I know that you recently published a blog with one of the best infographics in there. I'm going to put it into the event and post it with the other photos. Can you just go over real quickly some of the things that you're suggesting for our brain?
Yes. Well, and I don't want to give all of the reasons behind all of the foods, but there, and I got this, I didn't make this up and I did not do the research for this. I actually got it from cookinglight.com. It was actually on CNN via Cooking Light or something like that. But it was a list of 10 foods to help sort of stop brain fog. So it's not just brain fog, it went as far as to say sort of stop Alzheimer's and dementia. Wow. So even people who are in their 20s who are pregnant and have pregnancy brain, sometimes brain fog and many times it's hormonal. And that's why women in menopause experience it, because their hormones, are kind of going all over the place. And so they did this study, many different studies around, that found different foods that sort of attack different mechanisms in the brain or protect different layers, like, the gray matter and different things like that. Certain ingredients in these foods or components of these foods actually help protect the brain. So one of them is blackberries. Another one that's fun is coffee.
I'm just so happy to hear that.
And it's not decaf. So what's funny is I have weaned myself off of regular coffee for decades, and rarely do I drink regular because it makes me jittery, but I've started adding a scoop of regular coffee into my pot of coffee just to kind of help there, because it actually says in the study, it was people who drank 3 to 5 cups of regular coffee a day that saw this best effect. And you'll have to go to the link to read up on each of these things. The other one was apples, which have a high concentration of this antioxidant that is quercetin. But it's mostly in red apples, and it's in the skin. So you can't go and get the peeled. You can't eat, fruit salad with no peel, or something like that. Then the next one is chocolate, which is yay, and it doesn't differentiate between dark or milk or anything like that. It's just chocolate. Okay, then you have things like cinnamon, spinach, which is so good for so many other things, that belly fat, and so good for your brain and good for so much. So add lots of fresh spinach, or steamed, or you can even do cooked. You'll see it in this infographic.
Great.
And then extra virgin olive oil, salmon, curry, and Concord grape juice. So
wow. So Lisa, how did you become such an aficionado and expert on being healthy and fit and hot and sexy? What inspired you? And have you always been this way since you were young, or did this come from experiences? What happened?
Yeah, there were a lot of options in that question.
Well, some people are, healthy from day one, and they're always, or sometimes after they get out of college, they get really healthy. And what was the trigger?
Well, I was always physically fit. I wanted to be an Olympic ice skater when I was younger, and I ice skated for 9 years. But I was in New Mexico, so 9 years in New Mexico is probably the equivalent of 1 year in, Minnesota. You get a couple of months a year, and it's not outside; it's all indoors. Or you can skate year round, but it's a whole different realm. So, but I was very active, and then I was a cheerleader, and then of course, after being a cheerleader, I became the rebellious teenager and did not exercise other than weightlifting and stuff. And I had my path. But the biggest thing for me, that this is sort of a surprise area of interest for me, because I am a writer and I'm an author, and my thing is comedy and humor. My blog is all about funny, quippy sort of stories that happened to me along the way, and my outlook on life, and that's my blog on mischievous .com. And that's MSCHEEVIOUS. Anyway, that was my outlook. I mean, my whole motto, and it's on my website, on my personal website, enjoy every moment. That is my motto. You have to enjoy the moments in life, and you have to really live life and get every ounce of enjoyment out of it. So, I really wasn't on this health thing, but then my sister got ovarian cancer, and she battled with it, and she was one of the strongest in our family, one of the strongest women we knew, and she battled hard for 7 years, and it finally took her. And then during that time, my gynecologist was sort of all on that and said, you've got to be tested. And I found out I had the gene, and that whole story is also on my website. There's videos people can watch and things like that. But it just made me realize, I went and I had all the surgeries that Angelina Jolie had, and that plummeted me down into, plunged me into menopause, which was, so not fair.
I know. Way too soon for you.
I know. They told me I had the ovaries of a 24-year-old.
Oh, nice. Now that's a compliment.
Anyway, it was just one of those things where I just knew, if and when you say experiences, were there people that inspired you? Jane Fonda, okay?
Oh,
she inspired me when she came out with her workout video, and I remember trying that workout video in my early years, and that was a hard, kick-ass workout.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it was hard.
I loved her.
She had many. Yeah, she had many of those. And then just recently, I mean, she's what, 70-something?
Yeah.
She just came out with another workout video. I mean, come on. So she inspired me, and I remember thinking, oh, God, I'm getting too old for this, to have, to deal with all the symptoms of menopause. I'm getting too old for this. That's funny. But, I mean, to have any kind of a cancer threat and all those things looming, you really have to clear your head. And so I started getting more into my yoga and just really focusing on health and wellness. And so it just became a part of the fabric of me. And as an extension, it's out there. So there you go.
Well, I think it's so wonderful, too, because when you're, and it really says a lot about you, Lisa J., which is you got hit with a really tough situation, not only watching your sister pass and go through what she went through, but to know that you carried this gene for that, and then you went through the surgery, and it's not just you had surgery, your whole state of mind changed, because when you lose your hormones, goddesses, you flatline in a lot of places, and we don't know how we're all going to respond. People respond differently. One person, you can have the same level, and one gal can be sitting there just saying, well, I feel just fine, and the other one is ready to either have a homicidal moment or a suicidal moment. So everybody's different, but you were able to get on the other side and take good care of yourself. And I really, one of my dear friends, Alice Badler, she is one of my favorite folks to watch because she really gets self-care and taking time. And you're doing the same thing. You're really honoring what your needs are. And now you have all this wonderful passion that you're sharing with the world about how they, too, can take care of their bodies. And I feel your passion and enthusiasm and really your deep caring in everything you do, whether it's as mischievous on all the social media platforms or whether it's more serious at your Lisa J. Davis. You are constantly being such a wonderful, wonderful advocate. Obviously, you care deeply. Are there anything else you'd like viewers to know before we wrap this up?
Yes, and that is that it's a process. That everything is a process. And, when you say I sort of have this in the bag, I don't have this in the bag in the sense of my hormones. Hormones are a tricky business. And it's a constant, not only am I vigilant for myself, and I'm also a student of my own research, but I am an advocate for myself, and I go to the doctor. That's the thing many people don't want to do. They don't want to go to the doctor. And I go, and I don't take it as, okay, now that I've gone to the doctor, I guess I have to do what he says. I would go to the doctor to get his opinion and to find out and to learn. And I do that for my hormones occasionally, and it's a process. So just remember, this is a process. Give yourself a pat on the back for even being here and watching this, and just, do what you can. That's all you can do. If all you do is drink 2 glasses of water before a meal, hey.
That's, you've added value. Lisa, how can folks find you?
They can find me on my website, Lisa J E Y Davis DAVIS.com, or they can pop over to Mischievous MSCHEEVIOUS.com. It's like Ms. Cheevious. Awesome. And that's it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today to share some wonderful tips and great ideas that we can implement, even if it is going to bed a little earlier, eating more fruits and vegetables, or drinking a little more water. Little tiny steps do have a profound impact, and I just want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I want to thank all the viewers for tuning in as well. I always appreciate your comments and feedback and seeing you.